What's up, everybody, and welcome back to The Rant. It's Josh and me bringing you some, sort of news and bits of ramblings about the new stuff that we have managed to actually get some hands-on time with, so let's just dig right in. Josh, I feel like I should lead off, let you collect your thoughts for a moment there. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works perfectly.
Perfect timing. All right. So, first up today, I'm going to talk about a game which is newly released to the PS4, but is actually from a couple of years ago on the PS Vita. The game did so well, though, that they ported it to the PS4, and there's actually a sequel in the works right now, and I am talking about Gravity Rush Remastered. For anybody who's not familiar with the title, it was on the PS Vita originally, and it was just one of those fun, whimsical little games. It doesn't have a ton of dialogue or anything like that, but the story so far has been quite fun for me. I've enjoyed it. The gameplay mechanics don't really have any faults to them or anything. They can be either simple or tricky. It's up to you and how advanced you want to get with what you do in there. But the one thing I think they added since the Vita was now you can use the motion control that the PS4 controller has built into it. Not that I like that, to be honest. It feels a little weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever used the motion control for other things aside from the spray painting and Infamous?
Yeah, there was this Ratchet and Clank game. It was on the PS3, but it had the same like motion control thing where you had to do the outline of the thing. It just did not work. And I've played plenty of other games where it's like use the control, like Killzone Shadowfall. What a piss show that was with the whole motion shit. Oh my god. But yeah, I know where you're coming from. Motion stuff is just
it's there, but it's not quite there. It makes me feel like the one day on Burnout Paradise where I was like, you know what? Today I'm only gonna use the motion control to steer, and I quit after 5 minutes.
Yeah, I would too.
It's like it's there, it's functional, but it doesn't feel right at all. And like I said, it works in Gravity Rush thing, but it doesn't work. I feel like when I try to use it, I'm fighting between using the control sticks and using that, you know? So yeah. It doesn't work out well on that point for me. And unfortunately, I don't think you can disable the motion control stuff. I think you can turn the sensitivity way down, but it would still be present. And the way they have it set is the main character that you can play as has the ability to shift gravity, but just for herself. So wherever you have the the on-screen cursor pointed towards, when you activate the power, your character will start falling in that direction, essentially. And they have the motion control set so that when you're in the little gravity manipulation mode like that, you can, tilt the controller and it moves your perspective and aims you, but it's just not quite there, in my opinion. I feel like it was a last-minute add-on. They're like, hey, this thing has motion control. What can we do with that? Aiming? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, last 10 minutes of a meeting, they're like, what can we do? Can this be done in the next weekend? So I haven't finished the game yet. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And that, truthfully, is like my only gripe so far. Everything else works really well. The story's been fun. The soundtrack is terrific on it. It's very unique. Like, you're in the first city that you're in, the music, it really sets the mood for how all the characters are in that area. Like, whenever you have a conversation, everybody seems just like a little bit downtrodden, and the music kind of reflects that. And then when you go to the second area, which is sort of like the entertainment district, bright lights, big city kind of thing, the music's very upbeat and jazzy, and everybody you talk to has kind of a little bit upbeat, jazzy personality to them. It's a really good soundtrack. It's one of those ones that really helps set the mood for every bit of the game, and you just kind of feel good about the music. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of games kind of drop the ball on the music, in my opinion. I feel like the music should help empower the way the game is supposed to feel when you're playing it, you know? Like, if you're supposed to be the hero, I feel like the music should be like a triumphant hero kind of song. Or if you're the villain, it should be something that kind of makes you feel dark and edgy. Or a lot of games just don't do that. They kind of cut the audio out and leave it as like something in the backdrop that nobody's going to pay attention to. And I really think audio and music scores and all that can really help make or break a game. What do you think, Josh? Have you had similar experiences?
Oh yeah, I mean, any game that has a really great soundtrack gets higher points in my mind. Like, the newest game I can think of is Unravel, and it has a brilliant soundtrack. It's beautiful. Or Life is Strange, very nice soundtrack, very moving soundtrack. It just helps with the atmosphere of the game. If your soundtrack is boring and lame, you're not going to have as much fun playing through it as you would playing through a game that has a really bright and vibrant soundtrack that fits the game.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's about it for my thoughts on Gravity Rush. I mean, I feel like it's a really solid title. If I had to give it a ranking, I'd give it like a 4.8 out of 5. I'm only taking points off for the motion control thing, which just feels like a rushed afterthought that they put on. It's, a solid title. I highly recommend everybody check it out. Unfortunately, there is no demo for it, so checking it out more or less means you'd either have to try it at GameStop, which I don't think they do anymore because GameStop sucks, or buy a copy. That being said, it's $30. Well, there is YouTube, but let's face it, how often do you actually get a good feel for a game by watching the videos on YouTube? You
see, I hold the controller and I pretend like I'm playing. And
but think of how many times that backfires. Like all the people that posted like Bloodborne videos or something like that, and they're kicking ass, and everybody's like, "Oh man, that game looks amazing." They go out and they buy it, and then they get raped by the first little guy that appears on screen. Like, not even a boss, just that first dude with the freaking sickle and a torch that's by the carriage at the beginning. Just beats the living hell out of them. They're like, man, this sucks. That guy made it look so easy. Oh, crap. I just realized you and I are kind of in that category. We don't really get beat up in the streams we posted of that. Shit. No, we don't. We just added to the bad pool.
Unless I fall off a cliff or something, because...
Well, come on. Some things like that, that's not like a gameplay fuck up or a bad skills thing. That's just oh shit, I kind of wasn't paying attention for a second. It's a human error.
That happened a lot in was it when we were playing with Nick, or I don't know. I was falling off like every other. I was rolling out of the way.
That was that big hall section in the Old Hunters DLC.
Yeah.
Because the same thing kept happening to me too. Like I kept slipping off of the stairs and stuff. I think I was getting luckier and not falling to my death every time.
But getting to the secret workshop, I do that in one go.
Yeah, I can't fucking walk I know. I was friggin' amazed about that. I'm like, all right, be careful when you roll off. Done. What?
I've done it twice now. I did it again in the last roll when I was doing it, and I was like, oh. Wipe off your shoulders.
No, yeah. That's ridiculous. I die at least once every time I try to get into the Old Hunter's workshop. At least once. I don't think I've ever made it clean just right off the bat. All right, so that's my first thing for the night. Gravity Rush. What have you got lined up?
Well, I was thinking of talking about all my gripes for Lego Marvel's Avengers, but I made a whole video on that on my channel, so if you just want to link it down in the description, they can go watch that. But I think what I really want to talk about is a game coming out in 2 weeks called Plants vs. Zombies 2, Garden Warfare 2, I should say. And I played the beta that came out a few months ago, and it feels almost exactly the same. And the funny thing is, they kept all the same characters, and then they added 4 new ones to each team. So now it's like a giant clusterfuck. And I don't know if I'm gonna like it or I'm not gonna like it, because I didn't really get to have a full hands-on with it, and during the beta, I kind of did most of the single-player stuff. And the hub world you get, which is like this, just vast area, and you have a plant's castle, and you have like a zombie castle, and you meet in the middle, and you play capture the flag, and you get tons and tons of coins and stuff like that. But I'm wondering how much they're going to decrease the coinage in that, because I got like 10,000 coins per like 30 minutes of playing that, like just stupid AI based mode.
This was on the original?
No, this is on the beta.
On the beta. Okay.
And I'm wondering how much they're gonna like do the Mortal Kombat thing, where it's like, okay, you were getting 50 coins per match, well you're getting
that would
25
suck.
now. But
that would suck.
Hopefully they don't do that, because that mode was really fun, and I got tons and tons of coins from it. So I'm hoping that they're phasing out their paid, buy coins thing, and they're going to be putting in this new thing for, you can actually play the game and earn the coins you need instead of buying them off the stupid store. So we'll see what happens there. Shit. But I really was hoping to play more of the multiplayer. I didn't get around to it, unfortunately, because I was really busy that weekend. And, of course, betas are only open for like 2 days, and it takes 1 day to download them. But whatever. I got a little hands-on with 2 of the different characters. And then I kind of was messing around with the other ones. And, I mean, really, they weren't anything special, per se. I think my favorite new character out of all of them was the what was the guy? He's like a piece of corn, and he has like 2 corn cans on him. And all the other characters just seem like one. Like there's a few that are just kind of remakes of the other ones, and then there's a few others that are like they're so outrageous and incredibly difficult to use. It's like only the most skilled players will use it. And this is supposed to be a kids game, so it's like.
Skill level 10, meant for 8-year-olds.
But, I really did enjoy the game when it came out in, like, 2014. It was, like, number 2 on my list. Or was it last year? No, it was 2014. Yeah, it was 2014. So I have high hopes for it. I enjoyed the game, and I really overplayed it. And I got it was like I was playing it really hardcore for like 3 months, and all of a sudden I was trying to play it, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of done with this game. Like it was still fun, but it was like I can't play it anymore because it's just too much.
Oversaturated yourself on it.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen eating your favorite food like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like 2 weeks solid. And you're like, I don't ever want to see that again. No more.
Oh, that's what happened to me with Chef Boyardee ravioli. I used to eat that crap all the time, and all of a sudden I opened up a can, and I'm like,
I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
I think everyone has been down that road with something. God, for a little while there, I think for me it was like pizza rolls, like the Totino's pizza rolls.
Oh yeah.
Like I would snack on those all the time. Aside from them being fucking horrible for me, for a little while I was like, dude, I don't think I ever want to see these again. Like ever. Like seriously ever. No more. Oh man. I gotta be honest, the original Plants vs. Zombies thing, it wasn't even like a blip on my radar. Was it really that good? Like were there that many people playing it?
Yeah, you still got a pretty good following for the game that came out. I haven't played it in forever, but I'm pretty sure people still are on there. It was fun. It was a fun game. It was definitely worth my money and my time. I got the playtime out of it.
Right.
I really did enjoy it while I was playing it. But the next one, it looks like it's going to be just a bigger version of that game, and that can be good or it can be bad. Well, I guess we'll just find out.
Well, as long as you don't get screwed over Mortal Kombat style with the spending coins, and as long as you don't have to put in real money to get the coins, Thank God neither of those mechanics have really caught on all that heavy in the AAA titles.
Well, you wait. People, you know how the quote-unquote gamers out there will just be like, oh, well, I don't feel like putting in the time, so I'm just going to buy all the packs.
Yeah, but even though I do agree with you, I have run into that so many times. I have not run into it in games that mattered at all to me. Like it's usually in the RPG, like not RPG, MMO RPG front where I encounter people that like the point of those MMOs is to grind and grind endlessly to earn money, to earn items, to finish quests, all that shit. And it's endless. That's the point of it. And I have met lots of people that like they didn't want to do that. They made an account and they paid for like I'd like the 0 to level 80 pack. What? It's only $300? Sure, I'll take that. And then it's like, they wonder why the game gets boring all of a sudden. And so fortunately I haven't seen that happen anywhere else yet.
Well, they did that crap with Battlefield 4. They had like in Battlefield they have different classes, so you have the support class and the medic class and et cetera, and they've released these packs like day one, unlock all the support weapons, unlock all the assault weapons, unlock all the vehicle upgrades, like $10 to $20. So I'm there like grinding the game, actually getting all the attachments and doing all that shit, and here's like a level 2 coming around with the world's best sniper rifle just screaming at you like he's good or something. Yeah.
Like, just because you have the item that will destroy my level 1 armor does not make you a badass. Makes you a cheap ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know they tried that shit in Assassin's Creed Unity. I forget who it was I was talking to at one point when that came out, but they were like, yeah, the little treasure chests that keep asking me to do microtransactions is killing the game for me. My thought was, that's what was killing the game?
Yeah, I don't need to go over how terrible.
No, nobody needs to uncover old wounds. That's like going down the Mortal Kombat road. We don't need to do either. There's been enough of that. The rant is trying to start a new leaf here. We're trying not to bring up old grudges.
We're not the rant anymore. We're the redeemed.
The redeemed. I have to change the channel name. Next week it'll be Geektopia.
God.
I may have to rebrand the channel at some point. I don't find myself filled with anger enough to do rants half the time. The stuff that pisses me off is usually just stupid people on the games that don't give a shit about others.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Of course, there will always be more rants. I'm not going to change the channel. I put too much effort into the branding. And I'm fucking lazy. Alright, back on to my news then?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I did manage to get another game the other day that just came out, and that is Nitroplus Blasterz, Heroine's Infinite Duel. Which is a really fucking long title and awkward and doesn't feel right when you say it at all.
Oh, kind of like Lego. Marvel's Adventures.
Yeah, there's a lot of implied commas in that. A lot. Yeah. I feel like if a title makes me question my grammar skills, it's off.
If I have to think about saying a title,
exactly,
you might have put a little bit too much into it. Like exactly. Infamous Second Son, that just rolls off the tongue. Lego Marvel.
Shortcut it. I was playing some ISS earlier. You know what I mean?
ISIS? What?
No. Bad jokes. No. Now the government's going to attack me. Yeah, a title means a lot, man. If a title is weird and doesn't even make you think of the game that you're playing, then yeah, that's awkward. And it sort of is the case in this one for the Nitro Blasterz thing, because none of it is infinite, and granted, it is an all-female cast, and they are technically dueling because it's one-on-one fights, sort of. It's a classic 2D arcade fighter, the kind that still exists in Japan heavily because they still have arcades. I know I'm not the only one here that's sad that arcades are dying. I miss arcades. Pocket change, where have you gone? That was the name of the arcade that I used to like in the mall, and then it got closed and turned into one of those arcades for, like, people who bring their 2-year-olds to the mall and they're like, oh, here's a quarter, go try and win something.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
You get like a fucking capsule toy or some shit like that.
Woo!
Oh, that 25 cents was so worth the choking hazard for my 3-year-old.
Yeah, I got this like little tiny rubber alien inside one of the capsules. That's
Exactly.
pretty cool, right? For $5.
It's like that episode of Family Guy where they show Stewie playing with the fire truck and he's like, this has small parts. Why the devil would this have small parts? Unless I'm supposed to eat them. It's like, this seems like the perfect logic for what's going on.
So I've quit drinking alcohol. Moving on to cocaine.
It's like, well, my liver's doing better, but man, I can't feel my teeth at all. I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, you're missing half of them, so my guess is cirrhosis. So,
Anyways,
it's like, yeah, you destroy your liver drinking, and then you're like, ah, shit, my liver's gone, my teeth are going to start falling out. I may as well move to cocaine. That way I don't feel the pain of them rotting in my skull. Let's do this. Next is methamphetamine, because you feel like you're not getting enough done during the day.
Change the
like,
name
shit,
of the channel.
I didn't get laundry done today again. Well, I gotta hit some of that crystal meth. It's a good thing my neighbor always has some on hand. It's the homemade drug. Everyone has it. Nitroplus Blasterz. Sorry, got off topic there. Nitroplus Blasterz it's in that category of 2D fighter that it makes me feel like Blaze Blue. You know, it's pretty fast combat, but not really difficult, and doesn't demand a high level of skill. Like you more or less just have to kind of remember like what can link together. You know, it isn't like Street Fighter where you have to try and remember frame rate data because you have one frame to input a button press, and the game says fuck you if you don't input it then. So it's a fun game. I really like it. At first, when I threw it in the night I got it, I was feeling a little bit irritated that I spent $40 on it because I was like, this doesn't feel all that fun. But then I gave it another try. I started practicing a couple of the characters and running the story mode and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I misjudged it. This would have been a solid title even at $60, and it was $40. It wasn't a. It's not a full price big AAA title, but it's still fun. That being said, the one mode on there that I have not been able to play on at all is the fucking online mode. Not because it doesn't work, but because I keep running into the same old bullshit where people only want to play with their friends, and when somebody new joins the room, they panic and kick you out. Oh, the old days of gaming. Did you ever experience that shit back in the day? Like you jump into an open room because there was no such thing as a private match back in the day, and people would flip out and be like, oh, who's this guy? He's not on my friends list, and they'd immediately boot you.
No, I've never really run into that myself.
Jeez. I used to get that crap all the time back in the day. Especially on certain titles that I made the rounds on a lot. Like Dead or Alive 4 got that way for me for a little while. Like, I got good enough that I would always seek out like higher ranked players than myself just for the challenge. And those groups were always very cliquish, you know. It was like these 4 guys and they're all double S ranked players on DOA, and they don't want anybody lower in there because, you know, if they lose a match, which is impossible, but if they did, they'd lose 1,000 ranking points, and they don't want to risk it, you know, that kind of shit. Which is actually kind of the explanation the little fucker gave me yesterday that booted me out of the match. He's like, it's easier to kick you out than to remake the room. That was his explanation. I feel like if you're dumb enough to not set private slots, then you're dumb enough to get your ass kicked by the dude that just jumped in your room. Am I crazy on that, or does that sound like logic?
That's pretty logical.
I don't know. I get irritated when people do dumb shit like that in online stuff. I mean, the point of online gaming is to be able to play with tons of different people. And when you're on one of those smaller games and there's literally only 3 match rooms available, don't be a dick. Let people play. You know? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, granted, I don't think this lets you connect to servers outside of the U.S., but it is one of the titles that supports crossplay. So Nitroplus players on the PS3 are supposed to be able to play with ones on the PS4. If I've got both those networks working and I've only found 3 matches, don't be a dick. Let me join your match and play. I mean, come on. That's just rude, man. Alright, well, Nitroplus Blasterz, Heroine's Infinite Duel. Check it out. It's a really solid 2D fighting game with no real glitches other than dicks in the online mode. But how's that new? That's every title that has multiplayer at this point. The gameplay is fun, it's fast, it's simple. It's got those crazy over-the-top, like, screen-filling finisher moves. It's fun. Check it out. Back to you, Josh.
Well, real quickly, I guess I'll go over a little bit of the new side-scrolling platformer game, Unravel, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. The game is actually pretty unique in the way that it plays. It's not like a Little Big Planet or any other of those side-scrolling games, but instead you play as Yarny, who is literally a piece of yarn morphed into a character, and you use his yarn abilities to get through levels and puzzles. And it actually gets kind of challenging towards the middle of the game. Like, I'm actually stuck on a level right now. So, as crazy as that sounds, a kid's game is actually beating my ass. But the game, it looks really great. The graphics are really on point. They use a great motion capture, face capture for the old woman in the game. And you pretty much follow along her memories through pictures and stuff like that. And you actually go inside the picture, of course, and then you play through like a level that's based around what she was doing. So there's the whole first level is about her going outside the play and meeting a boy in a treehouse, and then by the end of it they're like, you know, holding hands on the beach or something like that. And the next level they're on the beach and you go through a beach level. It's fun, it's creative, and they actually use it has a really great system of, you know, you only have so much yarn to get through the next section, so you have to use it wisely. And you can actually use the yarn as like a rope. You can tie the 2 sections and make it into a bungee cord or a trampoline type thing. And there's plenty of things and ways to do. You can swing around on it and all that stuff. But just remember, you only have a certain amount. So if you're doing a puzzle and you just can barely reach the next yarn ball, you know, you're good to go. But if you get stuck somewhere, you have to go all the way back around. You have to rethink the whole thing and go back through it. It's fun though, and the music does suit it very well. I really do enjoy the music in this game, and visually it's a very great looking game, and it's very fun. It's a very fun game, and I actually gave it a 9 out of 10 in my review on my channel. So
Very nice.
it was very
nice.
fun, very interesting, very lovely.
I do have one question, though.
Yes.
Does your character actually begin to unravel as you use up your yarn?
Yes, he does.
Awesome. I hoped there was something like that in there that kind of made the... Like, you know, it made it feel like a bit more of a consequence for being overly enthusiastic with your use of the yarn kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It wouldn't have made sense to me. It's like, oh,
yeah.
well, I just ran out of yarn balls. I'm screwed. I'll have to walk there instead of swing.
Yeah, he starts looking more hollow, and then he gets to like this base, like kind of skeleton-looking thing by the time you're out.
Okay.
So it's creative. It's cool.
I like it.
Nice concept.
I might actually have to check that out. Like, I did not enjoy the Little Big Planet titles at all. In fact, I kind of hated them. But the gameplay mechanics for Unraveled seem drastically different, even though the like visuals are similar.
Yeah, I don't think the visuals are similar at all. The visuals in Unravel are just 10 times better.
Well,
than
yeah,
anything
of
in Little
course.
Big
We're talking
Planet.
about different generations here, but I meant the side-scrolling and the weird backdrop thing. It looked very similar in like direction and or artistic direction to how the Little Big Planets were set up. You know what I mean?
No, I don't see it.
You don't see it at all? All right.
I've played through all the Little Big Planets. This one definitely. I mean, it's definitely more. I don't know. I guess once you play it, you'll see where I'm coming from. But it compared to Little Big Planet, this game is like a step up in pretty much every category, even the backgrounds.
Okay. Well, either way, it's not a big deal to me. Like the art direction doesn't make me think it's gonna suck or anything like that. The gameplay mechanics didn't seem like something that I would be that interested in. But now that you're explaining that it's a lot more puzzle driven, that's kind of more up my alley then.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on Little Big Planet. I'm just gonna start bitching endlessly, and we're already at half an hour, so there's no reason to shit all over that at this point.
No.
Comic books. I really only have one piece of news for comic books, and it makes me sad. And it might make some other listeners sad, too. Anybody out there reading Starfire from DC? I can't hear anybody. They're too quiet. This is terrible. Where's the internet when you need it? Well, unfortunately, any of us who were enjoying Starfire, it's apparently been canceled. Makes me sad. I was enjoying that. They finally brought the character back to how she was originally written, an aloof, kind of kooky alien, which was just fun, as opposed to the slut that the New 52 made her into originally. I'm sorry, man. I don't like using that word, but if page 1 is your character saying, oh yeah, I'm dating this guy, but I'm going to screw the dude who's sitting right in front of me, I'm sorry. That's right down the alley of slut. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say that one.
It's understandable.
DC, man. I don't know. I like DC. I've come to enjoy DC Comics more than Marvel as of late, and I was a very big Marvel fan, but sometimes DC just does weird shit when they redesign a character's background and backstory and all that shit. I just don't get it sometimes. Of course, it could be worse. It could be the giant clusterfuck that the Spider-Verse is. Marvel. Looking at you, assholes. Josh, do you have anything on the comic front you'd like to mention?
Well, on the same lines as DC, they are actually going to be ending their New 52 run, and they are going to... sources say they're going to reboot or return to the pre-52 universe. So we'll see what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm a fan of this. I don't know if it's true, but it's just some things I've been reading on Twitter and other websites as well. I mean, I've come to enjoy the New 52, and they had a lot of good comic books inside the New 52, like Starfire, like Batman, like all those other ones. So if they're going to reboot them again, Flash, yeah, or if they're going to reboot them again, I mean that's a lot of reboots.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I
DC
think they're going to
do
keep the smaller comic books the same, like Sinestro, and I think Harley Quinn and Batman Beyond are going to stay at the same level. But I don't know what's going to happen. They're kicking, I believe they're kicking Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo off of Batman, and they've been doing a wonderful job with it. And then they're going to keep. They're supposedly going to be keeping Jim Gordon in the Detective Comics as Batman, which is good. I like Jim Gordon as more of a Detective Comics Batman, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going to be going with this because I'm scared. I am scared. And especially if what Jeremy said was true at the comic book shop, that they're going to be double releasing a lot of their comic books in each month. That's a lot of money, and I get a lot of DC, so I might be dropping more DC. I like to only spend up to $40 to $50 per week on comic books. That just helps me keep my finances in check.
Yeah, that's still a lot of fucking money, though. It is.
I know.
There's since the end of 2015 and 2016, I'd been spending way more on comics per week than I thought acceptable. It's like, unfortunately, the ones that I'm ending up like buying multiple issues of and stuff like that are my favorite books. I really don't want to drop them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can feel you, definitely. A bunch of those ones that I think would be double released are DC ones that I'm reading too. So it's like, shit. This is.
I'm hoping they're not going to do it because that would be a terrible business decision.
I think they probably will. That's the problem. I don't like that either because like there's a bunch of the new 52 series that I've really been enjoying too. Like I really do like the current Flash. Like, granted it's Barry Allen again, but you know, it's a different version of Barry Allen than the original one from back in the 90s. It's a very different character. The drive is very different. A lot of the background story is very different. So I get what you're saying. I'm enjoying the current version too. It's gonna suck if they redo everything. It really is.
Yeah, that comes in June. So once they release June's comic book releases, I will keep everyone up to date on what's going to happen because they have up till May. I think they're putting a hold on June until they're set in stone. So we'll see what happens. If June ends up being like a giant clusterfuck of new number ones or new creative groups all around, I will definitely be on here saying something.
It's a repeat of last June. We all know what happened last June.
Yeah. Well, they're not doing the 3D covers this year again, so that should be,
Welcome
good.
to Convergence 2.
Oh, no. It'd actually probably be called Divergence. They're going back.
Welcome to the spread.
There are some comics that they're keeping with, and I think I mentioned them already, but Sinestro, they're keeping the same storyline, which is amazing. They're keeping the same storyline for Batman Beyond because they did 52 fucking books for the Future's End. They better keep that storyline going.
I hope so. I've been really enjoying Batman Beyond.
And I'm just guessing they're going to keep the Bombshell, and they're going to keep...
that would make me sad if Bombshell disappeared.
They're probably going to keep a few of those other smaller comic books that are... they're still, making money off of them, but, they're not as high as, Batman and all the other big comic books are getting to number 50 next month. So they're keeping all the ones that haven't gotten the 50 yet as the same storyline. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, though, because who knows what they'll do.
Yeah, we are talking about several months here, so who knows what the hell could happen. I mean, like, June could roll around. They're like, no, we're not doing any of that because for some damn reason our sales spiked like 3 weeks ago, and we're $1 million flush now. Let's do this shit. Who the hell knows what could happen? It is the comic book world. And I hate to say this. I don't want to. I almost feel like DC wouldn't feel the need to revamp shit so often if their books were a little bit more expensive. And I really don't want to say that because Marvel just fucks everybody nowadays. Like, every book they have is $4.
Yeah.
But a lot of DC stuff is still like $3. And I give them props for that. I do. They deserve respect for keeping their books a little bit cheaper. But it makes me wonder, like, is this, is that $1 price difference really hurting them that much? Because to be honest, I don't feel like Marvel is dropping gold bricks every 2 seconds when they spit out something new. You know what I mean? Like, I don't...
Right, yeah.
I can't fathom why so many people do feel that way, to be honest. Like, Spider-Man was my original comic book character, the one that got me into comic books, and they shit all over it in the last, 6 months, and it's horrible now, and I don't understand how anybody could enjoy it at this point. I mean, I saw a cover preview somewhere for the new Spider-Man. He's in a fucking spacesuit, and he's piloting a space shuttle. How is that Spider-Man? It's like, you know what, I'm just hanging out in New York. I think I'll go down to Florida and catch a ride up to the moon. Webbing works in zero gravity.
They take something that's popular, and they just try to profit off of it as much as they possibly can. And they do that. I mean, Marvel's been doing it with their Star Wars stuff, even though I like a lot of the stuff they put out for Star Wars. I mean, I will say there are a lot of Star Wars comic books out right now that probably, some of them aren't really needed. And then you also have, them doing all this new Deadpool stuff because Deadpool's the biggest thing right now. So they got, 5 different comic books for him coming out now. And, I mean, they've I don't know. See, Rocket and Groot used to be the big thing. They used to have multiple series for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's like they took out, 5 different other ones they had. Now they have Rocket and Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they have them in their own solo series. Still good. Just, they reduced because they were like, oh, that's done.
Yeah.
The people who still like it will keep it going.
I don't understand where the inspiration and the desire to do some of these changes comes up in the comic book industry. I really don't. You have to wonder, like, do some of the head writers and stuff like that, do they feel like they're shitting all over, classic characters, or do they feel like they're improving them? I really hope it's not the latter, because that would just be a level of hubris that I don't think should exist in the comic book genre. That it should be about the fans, not about the asshole writing the book.
Yeah, and I know that, I think his name was, like, Christopher Jones. He used to do artwork for Batman 66. When they kicked him off of that, he was really irate. And he's probably said some things he probably shouldn't have said, but he was like, "Oh, I drew so many great panels, and DC knocked me off, took most of them down." And it's like, whoa, man, hold on there.
Yeah.
Like, not everything makes it into a comic book, But yeah,
it almost makes me feel like it's so hard to get into the comic book industry on any level that when some people do get in there, they immediately have this giant level of pride and hubris that they shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I made it. I'm hot shit. It's like, well, you're talented. I wouldn't label you as hot shit unless you mean literally. I'm on board for that one. You are hot shit, sir. Get a shower and a detox. Maybe invest in that cocaine we were talking about. So
yeah. Just one last quick point here, going off of what you said. Batman was Jim Gordon for a while, and because the sales went down so low, they forced the writer to write Bruce Wayne back into the mantle, which just happened in Batman 49. So, it's not a terrible thing, but it's just one of those things. It's like, yep, there's money talking again.
Yeah.
So, just a quick point.
Valid point. Very valid point. Totally fits in with the arguments we were just setting down. I don't know why the line gets blurred so often in these areas that should be about the fans and shouldn't ever be about wanting to be rich if you actually make it into the industry,
Mm-hmm.
It should be about wanting to really add something great to a character or a storyline or whatever, or maybe even give birth to a new character or storyline that is really loved by people. That's what it should be about, and it never seems to be that anymore. It seems like the economics drive everything on every level, and I just don't like that, man. I really don't. It leads down some weird paths when it comes to like storylines and character design and I mean, shit. I think the economics of it is probably one of the reasons why so many video games and comic books are bending under political correctness now, too. It's like, well, we can't afford to do anything that might actually screw up our sales figures for this month, so let's kowtow. That's another episode. We'll get into political correctness on a different episode.
Yeah.
That could be like 8 episodes, actually. Well, I feel like this is a decent spot to end. We covered a lot of stuff. What say you, Josh? You want to do some plugs for your channel?
Sure. My official channel is Josh's Opinion. I run I run a new video podcast. I just started this week. There's a little issue with the audio to video not syncing, so I'm going to correct that for next week. But, it's new. It's more personable, so you're actually, like, talking to me. And this week I went over Lego Marvel Avengers, like I said earlier, and I also went over the infamous movie Cool Cat Saves the Kids. So if you want, you can check those out. I also have Left 4 Dead gameplay videos, which me and my fiance and my good friend Nick do together. And then I also have video game reviews on there. Very passionate about gaming. I have unsolicited, unpaid, everything reviews for games. So if you want an honest opinion, you can go right over there. I have other things as well, but those are a secret. Robert, why don't you tell them about the Rant channel?
The Rant channel. The Rant is our magical cocaine-fueled little... No, there's no drugs involved, but the Rant channel is our little project here that Josh helps me with a great deal. He puts together some great stuff for me, like the Versus series, which is his brainchild and handiwork, and it shows. It's a terrific series. You should check that out. We also have 5-minute game reviews on the channel. You know, if you want to get the gist of something in a few minutes, check them out. We also do live gameplay streams every single Saturday. Well, barring days like today where the frickin' internet didn't quite work, so...
Yeah.
We allow for circumstance and causality, I guess. I don't know. But, yes. And then we have our regular podcast that you're listening to right now, The Rant. All of which on The Rant channel. And don't forget to check out our official Twitter feed for new episode postings. That's The Rants TW. That's at TheRantsTW on Twitter. Thanks for listening.